Meteorologist Tammy Souza here, and what we're watching is what is now extratropical cyclone Debby. It's just the remnants of what was Hurricane Debby, but this thing is still pretty potent. It looks more like a typical storm system that we would see this time of year that is not tropical. However, it is moving from south to north and slightly to the northeast, and it's dragging in these bands of precipitation, high winds, and maybe enough spin. We saw that yesterday. We saw that in Stanton over in Delaware when we had a brief tornado. So any of these bands could actually have a spin up that comes with them. So we're keeping a very close eye on that. Now, just a few minutes ago, we actually had a tornado warning here to the south of Binghamton. That has expired. So that is gone, and now that is just a flash flood warning. All of these really dark shades of red, flash flood warnings, because these storms are dumping 1 to 2 inches of rain an hour. So again, we're going to continue watching those bands as they rotate northward. We do not have any types of warnings as far as tornado warnings in our area. We do have an aerial flood warning, and that's generally for the large rivers, so we don't have any flash flooding going on right now. Up into the Poconos we go. In Coolbaugh, you actually have one little cell that is moving through, dumping some very heavy rain. Again, this is not moving to the east like we typically would see. This is moving more to the north, and if it starts to spin a little, that's when we have that concern that we could get a very, very brief tornado spinning up. Let's go over to Maiden Creek and Upper Burn. How about East Brunswick, Maxatawny? Let's not quite down to Pottstown, but let's go through parts of Berks County where you still have some rain. This band just off to the west of you is moving to the north. It will start to slowly edge in this direction. So I think it is going to be this afternoon between about noon and 5 that we see our best chance to see some of these things starting to spin and we get that truly heavy rain. If we kind of widen this out and go to the south, you've got Baltimore and you got DC down here. Got the warnings, the flash flood warnings, but you can see those bands as they're moving up from the south in our direction, and that's what's going to continue. Now I want to walk you through this hour by hour, literally hour by hour. We're going to be looking at noon. We have a band that's going to start making its way through Berks County toward Allentown and toward Philadelphia. So this is likely going to be all of you in Chester County, Newcastle County, a little bit of Philadelphia County, but mainly Delaware County on up into the Poconos. A second band behind that will make its way in our direction as well. You get the idea. They're moving to the north, and there are several of them. In between, you might even get peaks of sunshine. That's what we saw this morning, but don't be fooled. There is going to be more on the way. Any sunshine will destabilize the atmosphere further, which is just what we don't want. So you see the winds coming in from the south to the north. We get to 1 o'clock up into the Poconos, Allentown, Philadelphia, some rain, maybe some thunder here. We're looking at a much more intense band making its way through Reading and down toward just to the east of Lancaster and headed toward all of you in Newcastle County. Now by 2 o'clock, that more intense band has actually really started to widen out. There's a lot more moisture with this. There could be damaging wind gusts with anything in this band, especially because it's forming quite the line. And this is where you would expect to see some of that, perhaps where you see these little divots, some of those very brief tornadoes forming. They would form, there'd be a little spin, and off they would go. But again, you can see this going from south to north and then back here toward Wilmington. You notice there is a little bit of a southwest northeast component, and that's what creates that spin. We have winds in slightly different directions in the atmosphere. Down near the ground, they are coming in pretty much from the south. You get up a little higher, and they're starting to move more southwest to northeast, and that is what creates that spin as we go up into the atmosphere. 3 o'clock, we have that line still in the Poconos and Allentown. This tells me that for, 2 hours now, we have had very heavy rain falling, so we have a very big concern about flash flooding in these areas because any storm can dump an inch an hour, maybe more, and so we're worried about that. So all the way from the Poconos through Allentown, Upper Bucks, and Montgomery County, places like Limerick, King of Prussia, be ready for this as it heads your way. And toward Philadelphia into the rain. Now, I mean, this could shift by 30 minutes or so. It could shift a little further north, a little further east, a little further west, but this just gives you the idea of what's going to be happening. We head on into South Jersey. We're also going to be looking at heavy rain. We get into 4 o'clock. We could be looking at that band still fairly intact. There are little breaks in it, but it's very potent. And this thing is now making its way through South Jersey. It is into Philadelphia, into parts of South Jersey, still hanging on in the Lehigh Valley, Upper Bucks, Upper Montgomery County. We get to 5 o'clock and now it's starting to break up. We're starting to see this thing move off to the east. We just have showers behind it and perhaps just an individual storm that is popping up. But for the most part, the main body of this remnant of Debbie is now lifting to the north of us. Here we go, 6 o'clock. We are starting to see some breaks in the action. Yes, there are some showers and thunderstorms to follow, and we'll keep an eye on them. But remember, our tornado watch is only in effect till 2 o'clock. Now, they may extend it if it takes a little longer for these bands to get through the area. But again, it looks like between noon and 5, that is the time frame that we have to be most concerned. And again, between now and 2 o'clock is the potential for those bands that are going to kind of slide through here as they head northward to produce a tornado. So we go from 6 o'clock, we go to 7 o'clock. Again, things are starting to clear out. Look at here to the west. Get out to the west of the Poconos. We're seeing clearing. So we're going to see some of that drier air coming into the area, and we're going to see this system having lifted off to the north and the west. But we could still have some isolated showers and storms making their way through the area. Here we are at 11 o'clock. Things have quieted down. Isolated shower or storm rolling through, and that's about it. Now, our main threat is going to be this very heavy rain where we could see some of that flash flooding. So we have to be ready for that. Strong damaging winds. Any of these lines could come through and produce a wind gust of 60 miles an hour or greater. And we've had plenty of that. And this remnant of Debbie has produced that all the way up the eastern seaboard. So we are concerned about that. And in many cases, that can be much more dangerous than a quickly spun up tornado, because when you have a swath that's maybe 10 miles long and you're getting damaging winds out of it versus a tornado that's maybe 400 feet wide, you can see that the wind could produce more damage. The ground is saturated, so it won't take much to bring down trees and branches, power lines. We have to keep an eye on that. Large hail is at the low end of this. This is really not going to be a threat that we're worried about. And again, we do have that brief spin up threat that's out there. It's about a moderate threat, but we will likely see some of them. We've already seen some in the area. They, again, are very brief. The one that was in parts of Delaware, in Stanton, Delaware, basically that thing was about a little over a mile in length. It was about 450 feet wide, and it lasted for 2 minutes. So these are not long-lived tornadoes. Nonetheless, they can get down there, spin up, do some damage, and then they're out and gone. Here we go. These are the rainfall totals as we head through the weekend. A lot of this shuts down by tomorrow morning, so you can see we still have, unless you're under a thunderstorm, another 1 to 2 inches possible, a little bit less in Philadelphia, a little bit more in the Poconos, because that's where you've been seeing the brunt of this as this system lifts through. However, if you're under a thunderstorm, all bets are off. You could get some very, very heavy rain. And the peak wind gusts that we've already seen so far today, look at this, 37 mile an hour wind gusts in Philadelphia, 38 in Wilmington, 41 in Millville, 43 in Atlantic City. We go up to the Poconos, and you have seen a 44 mile an hour wind gust so far today. And that isn't even attributing that to perhaps that very strong line that's going to be coming through. Now, as far as the wind gusts, they'll start to taper off. Once we get past 9 o'clock, things will really settle down. But through the afternoon, expect to have those wind gusts that could be anywhere from 30, 40, 45 miles an hour out there. So let's kind of review quickly. We have a tornado watch through 2 o'clock today. We're going to have these bands of storms. They'll rotate from south to north. That's not typical. We usually see them moving from west to east. These are going to move from south to north, and those are possibly going to have a little spin embedded in them, but they will be bands. They'll look like little pinwheels. It's not going to be just one giant swath for hours and hours. It'll be one band, then there'll be a break, then another band. These could have those embedded tornadoes in them, and tree damage and outages, big concern. So for today, we have those heavy storms. This is from the remnants of Debbie, which is now just a post-tropical cyclone, and they say that because it's lost all of its tropical characteristics. It looks like just a regular storm that we deal with. However, it's still pulling in a lot of moisture, and it is still a very potent system. Localized downpours. You could see several inches of rain in a very short period of time under one of these storms. Again, the tornadoes and wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles an hour, possibly even a 60 plus mile an hour wind gust, which would be a severe storm warning, which we could see. So we do have our tornado watch for the entire area. The tornado watch is going to be through 2 o'clock. This is all the way down to the shore, toes in the sand, all the way up to the peaks of the Poconos. So we're all included in this. Now, where you see these red boxes, these are flash flood warnings, and some of these are expiring hourly. So as the storm system moves out and the water starts to recede, those are going to come and go. But we are likely going to see those popping up across the Philadelphia area within the next couple of hours. So be prepared for a brief tornado spin up, so you're going to have to act quickly. You're going to have to get into the safe spot, go to your basement, interior of wherever you are, get the kids, get the pets in. It's not going to last very long. If there is a brief spin up, it will be just that. It will be brief. So you're talking about just having to get in and wait, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then that thing will expire and it will be gone. So we're dealing with that. We're also dealing again to the north, where we have these all across the state line between Pennsylvania and New York. Now, this is where the brunt of this has gone. This is where the brunt of the heavy rain has gone. There were tornado warnings up there just to the south of Binghamton just about 20 minutes ago, but those have expired. So you get the idea. This entire system bringing the very heavy flooding rain through the central part of the state. These little bands, as it moves off to the north, are going to slowly make their way eastward. They're moving north more than they are east, but they are slowly going to make their way eastward. There'll be some other bands that will form and kind of fill in, and this entire system will lift off to the north and the east through New York and into Canada. And so then it'll be gone by tonight. But the critical time period is going to be today, about noon to 5 today. We really, really want to keep an eye on it. So far, we just have this rain coming through up into the Poconos. We have Coolbaugh. This is some rain showers into upper Bucks and Montgomery, and then we head up here into parts of Berks County, and it's just beginning to come into Berks County. Here is that first band that is off to the west that will make its way in your direction. And we do have flash flood warnings, a lot of them. You can see some of them just expired, and there are new ones that are popping up. These are across Maryland and moving into Pennsylvania to the west of our area. So we'll keep a very close eye on that. And we're going to be with you all afternoon. I'm here. Meteorologist Grant Gilmore is here. Chief Meteorologist Bill Kelly will be here, and we will be keeping you updated here at cbsphiladelphia.com on the live stream, because this is live right now. And we will also break in as needed at CBS Philadelphia if we do have anything imminent, like a tornado warning or anything like that. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and send you back to everything else that is going on, the news of the day, but you can always get the latest here. You can watch our radar. It's going to be here, and we'll be with you until this thing is out of the area.